Okay, so I'm going to show you how to actually capture the flag. And in this case, I'm going to show you HackTheBox, but tryhackme and any other platforms are very, very similar, right? So basically what you need to do, if you're a complete beginner, I recommend just coming to a starting point and getting through all of these, basically through all of these levels. Now, some of these levels are VIP, so if you have a VIP subscription, you can just do them additionally. If you don't want to, then you don't need to. If you're not a beginner, or if you don't want to do the beginner ones, then you can just come straight to machines. Now, machines are basically what it sounds like. They're just basically boxes, right? So as you can see, you have active machines. So now once you come to machines, what you get is you get tabs, right? So we have as active machines, retired machines, machines to-do list, and scheduled box releases. So the two most important ones are active and retired, right? I'll also show you one more important, which is tracks, which is actually very, very good if you want to specialize in a certain area. So let me just go back to machines. So basically machines are as follows. Active machines are basically the ones that are active, and you're not allowed to disclose any write-ups or any flags for anything, because if you do and they'll catch you, you'll get banned. And you also get retired. Now, retired, you can actually do anything with, whatever you want. These machines are retired. You don't really get any points for these, and you can get write-ups for these anywhere, right? YouTube, Medium, anywhere. So active machines, basically you get points for these. That's why you're not allowed to really disclose any, and retired machines don't really give you any points. Okay. Tracks are actually very cool. I actually like this because what allows you to do, there's basically, for example, printer exploitation. What this is all about printer exploitation. As you can see, I've done a couple levels. I also actually tell you, as you can see, if there's a green tick, it means you have done this machine. So you know, obviously you can just do the next one. So tracks, as I said, tracks are very, very important because what allows you to do is specialize in a certain area. Let's say I want to play, let me just actually disable this machine for a second. Right. So let's say I want to play editorial. What you need to do is come to machines and choose one, right? So as I said, I'm just going to choose editorial in this situation. So editorial. And what you can choose is you can either choose adventure mode, which means you don't get any hints, or you can use a guided mode. If you're a complete beginner, or if you just want to basically learn hacking, which I also do just recommend doing the guided mode, because it makes it a bit easier, and it gives you a way to think, and it is just allows you to learn hacking. Then you can use the guided mode. But if you want a challenge, then make sure to use the adventure mode, right? So the guided mode is basically just gets you through the box, and it gives you hints, right? You can also get the official write-up or the video walkthrough. I'm pretty sure IPPSec is another YouTuber. He does all these walkthroughs, and I'm pretty sure they're all, as you can see, the video walkthrough is by IPPSec. I think he's some moderator or some administrator of HackTheBox. Walkthroughs, this is an official walkthrough. You get PDF, and you can just go through it, and it explains some stuff to you, right? And the way to start this is obviously just to click spawn machine. Now, once you spawn the machines, I'm just going to actually spawn it. It might take about between 1 to 5 minutes between. Sometimes it takes longer, right? But in the meantime, what you can do is you can start your own box. So if you come to the right corner, it says connect to HTTP. Right, sorry, I just had to fix the screen. So make sure you're not using the starting point, because starting point will basically is on a different network, and it will not allow you to connect to your boxes, sorry. So it will not allow you to connect to the machines. So the one you need to choose is machines. Now there's two ways. You can either choose a VPN, open VPN, if you have your own Kali or your own box, and you want to basically connect your box to the VPN, you're free to do so. All you need to do is you just need to download this VPN and run it with your machine. If not, if you want to use a parrot, which is the only option, you can only use parrot. And if you want to use basically something that just disappears and you don't really need to save anything, then just use pawn the box and choose your own server. So wherever you are, the closest to me, for some, it's not Canada. So wherever you are, there's lots of servers. If you have a VPN access, VIP access, some of these servers give you better connections and stuff. So in this case, as you can see, there's US, UK, India, Canada, Germany, Singapore, Australia. So basically they're all in all continents of the world, so you should obviously be able to connect to the closest one. There's no ones for Africa, so Africa will have some trouble with connecting, but Germany is the closest one to Africa. So apologies, Africa. Right, so you just need to start your one. So in this case, I'm just going to press UK, start TheBox, and what it's going to do is going to start a basically client for me. It will take about 1 to 3 minutes. It is definitely faster than the actual our target, right? So in this case, as you can see, this is our target. This IP address is very important because this IP address is what you need to attack, right? So machines, there you go. I should take it. There you go, right? So as soon as this starts, what you can do is you can either terminate it, which obviously you should not do it because it'll destroy your virtual machine. Open desktop is something you want, because once you press open desktop, what it'll do is it'll give you your pawn box in a full screen, right? So I'll click open desktop, and what it will do is it'll give you a pawn box in a full screen. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to actually play CTFs, right? So once you launch your machine, so your attacker machine, which in this case, if you're on HackTheBox, you can only use Parrot, or you can use your own if you know how to use OpenVPN, right? And if you know how to actually connect to the VPN onto to HackTheBox. But in this case, we're just going to use Parrot, right? So what you get is you get all your files. These are just not really, you don't really need to know anything about these files. There's just files, right? The first thing you want to do is you want to note down your IP address, right? So I'm going to open a notepad. You also want to keep notes. Notes are very, very important, because what you can do is if you're working with a large scope or large, you have quite a lot of files. What you want to do is you want to keep notes on what's interesting, right? So for example, if you find some redirect or you find some file or something, you want to keep a note of it, right? So in this case, we're just going to keep an IP, just going to keep a note of the IP address, right? So in my case, it's 10.129.160.149. Right, and we're going to use this IP address to run an nmap scan, right? Nmap is important, and reconnaissance is the first thing that you should do. So we're going to run sudo nmap sv 10.129.160.149, and as soon as this finishes, usually what you get is you get some ports. So default port is like SSH, as you can see, right? SSH is usually open, so I would say you should not really try to brute force SSH, because that's usually not the best way, because you most likely will not get a password, and we don't even have a user, right? The user can be anything. It could be something random. It could be something completely out of, I don't know, it could be even in Chinese, right? So brute forcing SSH should be your last option. What you should always look for is something else, another port. So in this case, we have a port 80, which is a website. So you want to take this down. So we have port 22 open, SSH, and port 80 open, HTTP, or just put a website, right? One more thing I want to show you is sometimes you may not get all the ports to basically nmap will not show you all the ports. So in this case, what you need to do is you need to enumerate further, right? So in this case, I'm with another flag which enumerates all open ports. Now, why would you want to do this? Sometimes what you get, if a port is really, really high up, so for example, 50,000, 60,000 or something, or even above 1,000, nmap may not show you, or if there's too many ports open, nmap will not show you all the ports. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have all the ports, because it is important, because one port can make a difference. For example, there might be no open vulnerabilities on a website, but there could be vulnerabilities in the system, or there could be vulnerabilities in FTP or something, right? So it is important that you do know all the ports that are open, right? Because it is crucial knowledge in pen testing. So now the next step is to obviously explore the website, because there's something that we need to know about the website so we can obviously exploit it, right? So what we're going to do is put HTTP 10.129.160.149. Now, if the website would be under a different port, for example, 1337, so what we would do is we would put the port number at the end, so 2 dots, and in this case, because it's 80, what we can do is we can still use the port because it's port 80, which means HTTP, which is a website. As you can see, it worked, right? So I'll just repeat what I said, so you make sure you understand. So if the port, for example, for the website would be 1337, 21, 2021, I don't know, 2 million, whatever it is, right? Obviously, they only go to 65,000. so it could be even 40,000, you need to put the port number at the end, right? So in this case, because the port is 80, but it could be, as I said, there could be multiple websites under the same IP address, or there could be another website, or there could be an admin panel, something. We need to put the port number at the end. Okay, now the next thing I want to show you is what happens if you find a subdomain and it doesn't work. For example, I have basically just enumerated a subdomain called CRM. And if I try to go on the basically browser, and I try to type in crm.bordeaux.htb, and as you can see, it doesn't work. Now, no matter what you do, this will not work, because what you need to do is you need to resolve the IP address to the hostname or domain name, or basically for an etc host file, right? So what you need to do is come to your terminal and follow what I'm doing, right? I'll just make this bigger for you guys. Zoom in. There we go. Sudo nano etc hosts, right? Come down, and as you can see, what you need to put is you need to put the IP address. So in my case, as you can see, the IP address is 10.129.160.149. As you can see, the same IP address. Put the host name or the domain name. So in this case, it's Bordeaux HTB. And what you need to do is do the same for the subdomain. So crm.bordeaux.htb. And this will solve any problems. I've made this mistake when I was starting in HackTheBox. It will solve any problems with subdomains, and especially if, for example, sometimes what you get is sometimes the host is already identified and you cannot connect to it. You just need to do the same thing. You just need to put the host name with the IP address and the etc host file, and it'll work, right? So very, very simple, easy fix, but beginners make this mistakes all the time. Alright, so that'll be it for this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, comment, and please don't forget to also check my other videos, which should be somewhere on the screen. If not, then go to my playlists.